Welcome into the CLNS Roundtable discussion. Today, we have Lauren, Ethan, and Adam. If you guys listened to our last one, it was phenomenal. It was fireworks, and I'm hoping a little bit for the same for this one. Today, we're going to talk about the mix for the Red Sox lineup that John Farrell decided to go with, and follow that up with a little David Price discussion. So first, we're going to talk about the new lineup that we saw in Minnesota. Mookie Betts came out of the power position and went lead off instead. Dustin Pedroia second, Xander Bogaerts third, Benintendi at cleanup, which is new. Hanley Ramirez bumped down to the 5 spot. Mitch Moreland, Chris Young taking over for Jackie Bradley for the most part. Sandy Leon 8 and Devin Marrero 9. Let's just say first off, number 9 spot, we don't have to talk about that. Either whoever's batting, whoever's going to be at third base is going to be basically in the 9 spot, whether it's Marco Hernandez, Brock Holt, or Devin Marrero. So, what do you guys think about this lineup? Do you agree with John Farrell making these moves? I know, Adam, you have something to say about this because you claim that you called this. I don't recall this, but Adam, what do you think?
I'm pretty sure that I called it. I said that he needed to change the lineup up, something drastic, something like putting Mookie Betts at the top. I would love to see Jackie Bradley, if he does play, go down to the 9 spot. But right now, you got to ride the hot hand with Chris Young. I love having Benintendi in the 4 hole. I think he's the hottest hitter on the team. And obviously, he's producing from that spot. He's hitting bombs from there. I like having Pedroia in that 2 hole. He doesn't like batting leadoff. I'm sorry. And I just like the way the lineup looks right now, and I don't know how you can argue with that because they just put up 28 runs in 2 games. So, I mean, obviously, most of those runs in the 9th was against some guy. What is it, Justin Haley, that looked like he was throwing batting practice out there in the 9th. But I mean, the lineup is productive, and you had to do something. You have to make some changes, and I love it. So hopefully they can keep this going in Milwaukee. Then I don't think they're going to face anybody that's any good over there. So. Hopefully this is kick-starting their team, and this is something that needed to be done, I think, earlier.
I'm being serious when I say that when I got to the gym today, I got on the treadmill, they started the 9th inning, and I got off the treadmill after 30 minutes, and the 9th inning wasn't over.
Yeah.
I was excited to see Craig Kimbrell pitch. I was like, I'm going to get some good cardio in. Craig Kimbrell's going to come in. He's going to light him up. He's going to shut him down. Didn't even get to see Craig Kimbrell. That inning lasted so long.
Yeah, it was a long one. It's funny. I was listening to it on my way home today, and I was thinking, I'll get home, be able to maybe watch the rest of the game. I still got a good hour of the game even after listening to everything. I was like, all right, well that works. But the lineup, I love it. I'm a fan of it, and I like that Farrell yesterday or today said we go 7 to 10 days where it's been a little bit of a struggle to try to put together more than 2 or 3 runs, and he comes out and they put 15 and 16 hits on the board. They just absolutely dominate. It's obviously working. Yeah, I think it could have been done earlier, but it's still only May, so it's still considered early in my book. And you got to go with this right now because it's what's working. Benintendi looks really good in cleanup. Mookie looks good leading off. Pedroia's hitting bombs. Everyone's hitting bombs. And Adam, you just said it. You need to ride the hot bat with Chris Young because you can't. You need that run production right there. You need that offense. And you can't risk that just because JBJ has a good glove. You need the offense more than you need the defense right now.
Plus, he's super streaky.
Right, and I completely agree with everything. I like this lineup, and if you need the glove, you can always bring in JBJ in as a defensive replacement, but you gotta ride the hot bat right now, and that's Chris Young. I love Xander batting third. I think he's better a third hitter than he is hitting sixth. Benintendi, he's been able to produce in the cleanup spot. He's been the most consistent bat all season. He hasn't had a slump yet all season, and we're a month into the year, and he's going to give Aaron Judge a run for Rookie of the Year.
Now, I do absolutely love this lineup because clearly it's working. You needed a shakeup. And Mookie Betts, as much as the power that we saw him with some immense power last season, but truthfully, I see him more as a 1 guy. I don't see him as much of the power because power guys, I feel, when I think about somebody who's a number 3 or 4 hitter, it's somebody who can hit a home run both right field and left field. Most of his home runs are pulled over the monster or in left field or in center field. He doesn't hit opposite field well. He's a great leadoff hitter. And until that power starts coming back, the only reason he got moved up, remember, and I'm sure you guys remember last year, was that Baltimore Orioles game or 2 games where he hit, 5 home runs in a row? Was that it?
Yeah.
Where he hit 5 home runs in a row. That's when he got bumped back. We haven't seen much of that this year. We know he's a great leadoff hitter. And we know Dustin Pedroia doesn't enjoy leading off, which also tells you something about his leadership. He should be able to adapt. But the lineup it's phenomenal. And I like Hanley in the 5th spot. His average hasn't been great, but we know he has power. Mitch Moreland, I feel, he's a perfect 6-man. Absolutely perfect 6-man. Sandy Leon, catcher, you can go either way. I feel like they're both fine. If Sandy Leon gets red hot, then you have to go with Sandy Leon because he's the kind of guy who once he goes red hot, he's going to hit 400. And like I said before, the number 9 hitter, it doesn't really matter who's there. It's either Marco Hernandez. I like Marco Hernandez. I hope he becomes the 3rd baseman one day.
His defense is horrible, though.
He'll figure it out because you know what? You know who else's defense was horrible? Xander Bogaerts.
That's a very good point.
So that's the point.
Bogaerts when he first came up was not very good. But I do got to say, I don't know if this is the same for you. I know Adam, you already mentioned how you already took a shot at John Farrell. You guys know me, Ethan, you don't know this as much. Last year I tore into John Farrell. Every move he made, if he breathed wrong, I was calling for him to get out of Boston.
I absolutely hated John Farrell last year. I was on the 5 Farrell train from really the beginning of the year, even though
I'm still on it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought the way that they ended last season was terrible, and I thought that was all on Farrell. But you know what? As much as I would have liked to see Torey Lovullo become the manager, you're not going to fire a manager who just won the division. And that's what Farrell did last year with the Red Sox, in spite of him.
And I think I gained some respect for Farrell this year, especially with this move and this shakeup in the lineup. Because this lineup, I'm stealing something from Danny Picard from WEEI today, and I totally agree with him. It took some balls to make this lineup. Because if Andrew Benintendi is in the 4-hole, he goes over, you know we're riding him today. But he didn't. It worked out, and it's been great. And the Chris Young move, that also takes some balls. You're going to take out your stud center fielder for a guy who can only hit righties, air quotes, but he's mashing the ball.
Yeah.
So it absolutely took some balls to do this.
Yeah, and it's good to see because, I mean, same Ethan, you probably don't know this, but like I love Farrell. I'm a Farrell person. I've been Farrell since he was a pitching coach. I've always loved him, and I don't agree with all of his in-game decisions, and I can see why people hate him. I totally get it, but this move is just definitely something that needed to be done, and I think he's really starting to see, like, all right, I just because JBJ is a stud, he's a big name, he's really, like, a really good name on this roster, doesn't mean I need to play him. Like, I need to shake up this lineup, and he did, and he shook it up real good because it's producing, and they're doing exactly what they need to do. So it's definitely encouraging, just on offense-wise, coaching-wise. It's a huge positive move all around.
And also, I'm glad to see Farrell kind of get away from the right, left, because personally I think that strategy is the most overrated strategy in baseball. Because in my opinion, you got to go with your best. You got to make your lineup based on the hitter's skill set, not on whether they bat from the left or bat from the right. And I mean, it only really works. I know Francona did that, but he had a lineup where that actually worked. Whereas, like, not all lineups are conducive to having that right left balance.
Absolutely, and we've seen him make those decisions with the bullpen too, because he sees a righty come up, he wants somebody who's going to challenge him. So he, again, even with the bullpen, he goes right, left. But speaking of pitching, we're going to move on to David Price. David Price has a rehab start, or not a rehab start, a simulated game. I believe it is Tuesday, and then if things go well, It sounds like he's going to be pitching. I think I saw the date was May 14th, so a week from today, Mother's Day in Pawtucket. I see him getting maybe 2 starts, and then if all things go well with 2 starts down in Pawtucket, I think we're going to see him back up in Boston, which is huge for this rotation.
Yeah, I'm very happy to hear that, but at the same time, how many times have we heard this diagnosis or timetable from the Red Sox ownership, whether it's Farrell or Dombrowski, and it ends up being completely wrong? So as encouraged as I am to see that timetable, I'm not going to believe it until I actually see it. And he's actually in a Boston Red Sox uniform on Memorial Day or whenever he makes his return.
Well, I think that's why they waited so long to put a timetable on his return, because first it was 7 to 10 days, and then 3 weeks later we still haven't seen anything from him. So I think with this finally putting a timetable on his return is definitely encouraging. I think that he's where he should be, and I mean, he was my player to watch out for, so I want him to come back as soon as possible because I want him to pitch and I want him to do well. And what I said this on Red Sox Beat last week, what I was really taking from Price coming back and throwing in his simulated games was that they were saying his intensity is way up.
Did we just lose Lauren?
I think so.
We lost Lauren! Adam, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I love David Price. I mean, I'm obviously, I think I'm maybe the last David Price lover in Boston.
You may be.
I'm fine with saying that I love David Price. Okay, I did write an article about him and me being pissed off about him for his Twitter antics and just his social media crap. But I still love the guy. I still think that when he comes back, he's the second best starter on this team, and Chris Sale is the best starter. I firmly believe that you're going to need him big time, especially with Stephen Wright being out. Kyle Kendrick's awful, but we definitely need another. We definitely need another starter. I mean, Porcello is not. I don't think he's the 22 win pitcher that he was last year. I think he's a solid starter. For me to say that, it means a lot. But I love David Price, and I can't wait to see him come back. I kind of want to skip if he's pitching on the 14th. I kind of want to skip out of work and go to Pawtucket.
We do live close by. We live close enough.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to just bounce out of work and just go but I'm sure like everybody else will be doing the same thing. But I'm really looking forward to him. I hope that he comes back strong and that he just becomes a professional.
Now that's the thing that he needs to do. He needs to remove his head so far out from his rear end and focus on the game and not focus on Twitter. Because the more he focuses on Twitter, we've seen that he's a head case. We've seen that he's sensitive. He doesn't belong in Boston. We have to just come to terms with that, and he has to figure out how he's going to deal with this year and next year. Because, buddy, guess what? You have a contract, baby, a contract that only the Yankees will pick up.
He's staying for the whole contract.
Probably because nobody's going to give him more money than that.
He's staying for the whole contract. That's 5 more years of him.
But you mentioned Chris Sale, and Chris Sale, he has that perfect bulldog mentality that he has an edge when he's on the mound, and even when he's not on the mound, he has an edge, and he has tunnel vision. He's like Josh Beckett and John Lackey in that sense, where he doesn't care what people say, he just goes out and pitches.
All right, that is it for the CLNS Red Sox Roundtable for tonight. Thank you guys for listening. Look out for the next one, and make sure you always check back in for pregame and postgame. This has been Nick Quaglia, Adam, Ethan, and Lauren. Have a good night.